Hi everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review Mac DeMarco 2. This guy is a Canadian singer-songwriter who I first heard of in 2009 via the band Ex-Makeout Videotape, which wasn't exactly a project that churned out very hard-hitting music. I mean, for the most part, it was lo-fi, indie rock, and pop that did have some remarkably catchy moments on songs like Baba Vanga and, of course, Heat Wave, which was really one of the bigger music videos that the band had released. And after that, I actually kind of lost touch with Mac DeMarco and Ex-Makeout Videotape as the project continued on to release more collections of tracks, and as Mac DeMarco went into the solo material realm this year. At first, I didn't even realize it was the same guy. But right now, we have Mac DeMarco's 2, which is actually the second full-length LP he dropped on Captured Tracks this year. And funny enough, both of these LPs have noticeably different personalities. The album he dropped earlier this year, Rock and Roll Nightclub, the overall sound of this album is pretty much like the awkward image of Mac DeMarco itself on the front cover of him applying crimson lipstick. It definitely shoots for something sleek and sexy and nocturnal, but still it's a regular bro putting on some lipstick. Creepy. And a lot of the tracks on here are just slow, deep-voiced pop rock tunes that do get a little monotonous over the course of the album, but still, the LP is pretty sensual, pretty funky. There's a lot of stringy, twangy electric guitar all over this thing, and Mac DeMarco himself brings quite a bit of character with his vocals. And the album too pretty much follows suit with its cover as well in terms of its sound. This album is way more breezy, more fun-loving. It just does not have a care in the world. And the guitar tones change a little bit on this LP too. I mean, this LP is jangle spangled, which is an angle that a lot of people on Captured Tracks tangle with. This album, I think, will appeal to some people because it does have kind of a character to it. I mean, this LP to me really feels like some dude slow motion prancing in a dimly lit bar to like a local band playing some real smooth jams. It's kind of a sound I'm slightly indifferent toward in a lot of cases, but some of the tracks on here do have hooks that really, really pop. And the very twangy, just tinny guitar tone that Mac DeMarco plays with on a lot of these tracks is certainly attention-grabbing as well, and the vehicle for a lot of sweet solos, melodies, and leads on this album. The track Cooking Up Something Good is a great opener for this album, a funky little opener. The groove of it just kind of makes me think of like old school, like New Orleans funk music. It's a track that's danceable, yet quaint, and I love that squeaky little rhythm guitar on the track too. The track Freaking Out the Neighborhood is much more sleek, much more sexy, has a fiery groove to it, and a nice guitar lead at the intro of the track. It's something that sounds like it could have been dropped in the late 70s, early 80s, and there is a strong Ariel Pink's Haunted Graffiti vibe on this track. On the track Ode to Viceroy, there is some really impressive sheen on the guitar, and I love the way the arpeggio, the interval that's always being played during the verse on that track, it just bounces. And though the verses are kind of slow and plod along, the song really blooms on the hook with this guitar lead. And Mac DeMarco continues on this track and a lot of tracks on here to emote his lyrics in a very kind of tired, slightly apathetic, and lazy manner. And while sometimes this can make it difficult for me to connect emotionally with a track, it can be intoxicating as well. And nowhere is it more intoxicating than the synthesizer-backed My Kind of Woman. And despite some cliche lyrics, it's really one of the sharpest tunes on here. The synth arpeggios on the hook and the singing as well. My Kind of Woman. And the guitar on that spot of the song too. I mean, it is just a killer combo, a nice recipe. But that's really it for highlights on this LP for me. The number one issue I have with this album is pretty much highlighted on the 1 minute and 42 second instrumental track, Boza. It's just kind of a little guitar piece with bass, drums, acoustic guitar, and electric guitar. And you know, though it is pleasant to the ear, it's also kind of bland and unmemorable. There's nothing really truly distinct or brilliant about it, unfortunately. And without at least a very good hook on one of these tracks, a lot of songs here can come off as being bland and unmemorable, or highly borrowed, especially in the case of the last track, the acoustic closer, Still Together. Certainly nothing terrible on this album, and it does have a sweet personality, does have a pleasant sound, but when it comes to writing and playing, it does get a bit dull. However, I would say Mac DeMarco does bring enough variety to make a listen through of this album pretty easy and just nice. Overall, I'm feeling a decent to strong 6 on this LP. If you've given it a listen, what did you think of it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And what should I review next? Anthony Fantano, Mac DeMarco, forever.